Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. I'm here in my Monroe yard at the moment, and I'd say this Monroe yard represents 4 or 5 out of my 7 yards right now, because most of them are are only just past nuke stage. These were nukes. Maybe I put them in this box, I think, just over a week ago. So in June, late June, I changed the nukes that I was making and housed them into these boxes, and I've got 12 here and one slightly larger hive left over from the overwintered bees, and these ones here represent what I've got left in most of my yards, because I split all my hives down to make nukes for all my customers. I did more nukes this year than any other year I've had, and so now I'm left with very little chance of any honey production from a substantial quantity during this summer flow. But you never know, it could keep going. But right now I'm just building them up to get them big enough to possibly take advantage of a fall flow, or at least to get through the winter in healthy condition. So it all depends what the flows are doing. But right now, the majority of my 130, 140 something hives are at this stage single brood chambers, and only just starting to fill those up now. But I'm going to be away for a few days, and what I have to do is get some honey soup, get a second deep on them, because I want to make sure that they're ready to go and they can grow. I don't want them to be inhibited in any way, but I'm hoping that they're ready to receive their second deep. I've got a truck full of deeps over there with frames and foundation, etc. So let's see how things look. So I'm expecting them to have 3 or 4 frames of brood, and starting to expand into the spare frames I gave them. And some of them are still have a long way to go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is pretty small at the moment. Yeah, this one doesn't need another super. And when I said that these were nukes 3 to 4 days ago, well, I mean last week or so, they were nukes being built. So I transferred 1 or 2 of these relatively early, so they may have only had 2 frames of brood at the time, and others were considerably bigger. So I may equalize the strength of these somewhat, because this is considerably bigger. Certainly ready for another super on it, but I think I will transfer some. Now, the ideal comb to equalize the strength of colonies is to take a frame like this, where you have emerging brood, and transferring it into the next colony, because you want to make sure that this colony has enough brood there to look after, enough bees to look after the brood you're giving them. And as this has got emerging brood in it, and my queen is not here, I'm going to transfer this frame straight over to here. That will get the strength of this colony up considerably. Take a little bit of the edge off this one. Not that I want to slow it down, but now these two are much more equal in strength, and they could do with another box. So I might put the boxes on now anyway, just to get things moving along. So this upper brood chamber has several frames of foundation, quite a few frames of drawn out comb, and 2 or 3 frames of honey or food resources at any rate. About average. Got bees from here to here. I'll just move some of these less occupied frames in amongst here. Should be good to go. Nice. This one's good and strong, and there's been a lot of comb building too. Last bit of unbuilt foundation there. They're building nicely there. I'm not doing these as single brood chamber colonies. I'm doing them as double deeps right now. And I may come back and harvest a little honey out of the brood chamber. But for now, what I want to do is expand them. Give them a good chance of being a big colony for the winter. Still plenty of time to develop colonies, even relatively small ones. Especially if you're prepared to feed them during the dearth. Doing two at a time so that if I see the opportunity to share strength between from one hive to the other, makes it a little more convenient to do it. Here's an example of one that would probably benefit from that. This one has more brood, certainly a lot more bees. I assume there's brood in here. Plenty of brood and bees. I don't see the queen on there, and I'll shake a few of those bees off just to be more sure. That's good. Foundation going there. Nice stream of brood over here. So now this one's cut back a little bit, and this one's boosted a bit. Both ready for their next super. boost, but that's not big enough to boost it with. Let's see how strong these are. So with these, I think we'll clean it a little bit off that one. Trying to do a boost with. Make sure the queen's not here. She's not. There. Now they're all about the same strength. All three can take a box. Now in some locations, I'm giving them a lot of room, but right now we're going into spells of high 70s every day. It's relatively warm at night in the high 50s, maybe 60s. And if anything, for the next month, the temperatures are going up. Now, here in Maine, where we have relatively small issues with small hive beetles, it's okay to give your hive that room a bit ahead of time, as long as the temperatures are okay. In southern climates, where small hive beetles are a bigger issue, you don't want to give them too much space. You need the bees to have enough strength in there to monitor and patrol the whole area for problems like small hive beetles. And so this is probably something that you wouldn't do in areas where small hive beetles are a big issue. Now I'll get round and do a little bit of clearing up with my weed whacker. I'll be ready to move on to the next yard. So we've given these bees the extra room they need. Certainly it would probably have been better to put this on in a week's time, but I'm going away for a few days and I want to make sure the bees are not limited by how much space they have, especially if there's a honey flow. I don't want them getting bound up with honey too quickly. So right now they've got plenty of room to grow into and the conditions are good to do it. Fingers crossed when I come back, they're expanding into that second brood chamber. We might even see some signs of a good honey flow here. I'm Pierre Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time. Same story at my Winterport yard, Winterport Stream Road. All my colonies in singles right now. And I've got enough supers here to get another 6 of them into doubles. And maybe I'll make another trip, get some more in before I leave. But these were put into supers, even into hives, even later than the Winterport yard. So should be coming along nicely. A lot of the fields have been mowed now. So there's a lot of hay being cut, but there's still some areas with some interesting flowers. I don't know what this sort of purple stuff is, but I see my girls on it. They're certainly sharing it with bumblebees. This flower seems a lot more suited to a bumblebee than a honeybee, but looking at them, I see them making some progress on the flowers. Quite a few of them in there. But the girls are busy, so hopefully they're growing nicely. I just hope this honey flow continues. Let's get some supers on. 7 down, 18 to go, 17 to go. So the colonies that I'm putting the second deep on generally have 7 frames of bees and a frame or 2 of honey. So they're pretty much ready for it right now. And there's 1 or 2 that could have done with one right now, and around 10 which will be ready in 5 days to a week, and then the others will probably be a week behind them. I've balanced the strength of the colonies a bit by moving brood from the strongest to the least strong, and they are coming along nicely. So time to get back home, pack my bags, and go and see my boys. I'm Pierre Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.